Hey, what's up? Hope you're having a great Memorial Day weekend and getting some chill time before things really ramp up with the Cowboys season. I know we're all itching for camp and the kickoff, but for now, let's just soak in some downtime with family and appreciate the meaning behind this weekend. If you've got someone in the military or have lost a loved one who served, my thoughts are with you. It's a special kind of respect. Now let's get into the Cowboys news you care about, specifically Trevon Diggs. Man, Diggs has become one of those players where people are kinda split. You either really like him or not so much, and it's wild how his name doesn't get thrown around as much as it used to. Remember when he was a centerpiece? When we talked about Dak, Micah, and Diggs as the core of this defense? Now it feels like Diggs is almost an afterthought. And I get it because we've seen some solid play from Anthony Brown and rookie Siobhan Revel trying to fill that void. But honestly, it's not the same energy. Diggs was the kind of corner that quarterbacks straight up avoided throwing at. That presence, that fear factor, we've been missing it big time. Sure, Bland had his moments, especially with some crazy pick sixes, but you've probably noticed he's been exposed a few times against top receivers. And that's why the Cowboys went out and drafted a corner in the 3rd round, hoping Revel can step up. But here's the big question. Are we underestimating Trevon Diggs? Could he actually be back sooner than everyone expects? There's been some buzz lately, especially after Diggs dropped that documentary, almost like a subtle call-out to the front office and the doubters. He's showing that he's been grinding behind the scenes, ready to prove the haters wrong, and I respect that fight. If you ask me, that kind of motivation could be a game changer. Before we dive deeper, I want to ask you, what do you think? Do you believe Diggs is coming back sooner than the rumors say? Drop your thoughts down below, and hey, while you're at it, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss any Cowboys updates. We're building something special here, and I want you on board. All right, now that we've set the stage, let's talk about what kind of Diggs we might actually see when he returns, and why that matters more than you think. You know, when we talk about Trevon Diggs, it's crazy how much the conversation around him has changed. Not long ago, his name was front and center. He was a major piece of the Cowboys' defense. We had Dak, ceedee, Micah Parsons, and Diggs all mentioned like an all-star lineup. But now, it feels like Diggs has quietly slipped into the background. Fans and analysts are focusing on his so-called replacement, Anthony "Bland" Brown. And yeah, Bland had a solid season, making some impressive plays, especially with those pick sixes that made history. But when you really break it down, Bland isn't quite the same lockdown corner Diggs used to be. We've seen Bland get exposed a few times when matched up with top receivers, and the results haven't always been what we hoped for. So it begs the question, are we maybe overlooking how important Diggs really is? Could he come back sooner than expected and give the Cowboys that edge we've been missing? Now, I've heard some rumors, whispers really, about Diggs' rehab and training. This time it's different. Last time he was rehabbing, he'd just signed a big contract and was living that celebrity life. Partying, distractions, you name it. This time around, he seems laser-focused, training with a chip on his shoulder, ready to prove every doubter wrong. And honestly, that's the kind of mindset you want from a player coming off injury. It's not just about getting back on the field, it's about coming back better, hungrier. The video clips we've seen recently hint at a Diggs who's locked in, motivated, and ready to fight for his spot. Imagine that. Diggs, back on the field, covering those top receivers, allowing Bland to slide into the slot where he can still be effective but without being overexposed. Here's a question for you. Do you think Diggs can return to that lockdown corner form we all loved? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Also, while you're thinking about that, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss any updates on the Cowboys as we get closer to the season. It really helps the channel grow and keeps you in the loop. Now, I want to hear from you. Do you believe Trevon Diggs can come back stronger and make a huge impact this season? Yes or no? Vote in the comments and let's get the conversation rolling. With Diggs potentially returning earlier than expected, the Cowboys could also lean on their rookie corner, Siobhan Revel, who has the size and skills to help out in coverage. Combining Diggs's experience and Revel's fresh talent could be a solid combo for the defense. Plus, the idea of bringing back a veteran corner like Stephon Gilmore has been floating around too, just as insurance in case Diggs isn't ready right away. But the Cowboys might be betting on Diggs more than we think, hoping to avoid calling in outside help. That's a risky move, but one that shows confidence in their homegrown talent. We're all hoping Diggs comes back healthy and hungry, but no matter what, the Cowboys front office needs to be smart here. Don't rush him back too soon, but don't leave that corner spot too thin either. It's a delicate balance, and the way the team handles it could be a defining factor for the defense this year. So keep an eye on those updates because June 1st and the weeks following will be telling. And hey, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to Cowboys News TV for more insider takes like this. Let's see if Diggs can surprise us all. Now, shifting gears a bit, let's talk about the defense beyond the corners, specifically the pass rush and linebacker situation. We all know how crucial Micah Parsons is to the Cowboys' defense, right? He's not just a linebacker, he's practically the centerpiece. But here's the thing. Parsons recently sent a subtle message to the Cowboys front office that flew under the radar but could be a game changer. During a recent interview, Micah hinted at wanting more support around him, both in terms of defensive scheme and personnel. He's carrying a heavy load, and while he's more than capable, even the best players need a strong supporting cast. This message isn't a demand or complaint. It's more of a strategic nudge. He's basically saying, hey, I'm here to dominate, but I need you to build around me if we want to be championship contenders. This is huge because it shows Parsons' maturity and leadership. He's not just focused on personal stats, he's thinking team first. And that's what separates good players from franchise-changing ones. So, what kind of support might Parsons be looking for? Likely more edge. Rushers who can get pressure, better run stoppers to plug gaps, and a defense scheme that maximizes his versatility. Now, here's a poll for you. Do you think the Cowboys will answer Parsons' call and invest in strengthening the defense around him? Vote yes or no in the comments and explain why. Your opinion really matters here because this could shape how the Cowboys approach the rest of the offseason. The Cowboys have made some moves, sure. They drafted Donovan Ezeruaku, who has shown potential as a pass rusher. But is that enough? Parsons seems to be signaling that more is needed, and that might include trades or free agent signings we haven't heard about yet. The front office has to balance the salary cap and team needs carefully, but ignoring Parsons' message could cost them dearly on the field. Before we move on, I want you to think about this. How important is it for the Cowboys to build a defense that complements Micah Parsons' unique skill set? Can they do it with their current roster, or do they need to make major changes? Let me know your thoughts below. And if you're enjoying this breakdown so far, please like this video and share it with other Cowboys fans. It really helps grow the community and brings more voices into the conversation. All right, now that we've talked about Micah Parsons' subtle message, let's zoom in on the defensive line itself. This is where the Cowboys front office really has some decisions to make. You see, a strong defensive line can take a lot of pressure off linebackers like Parsons by disrupting plays before they develop. But are the Cowboys really built for that right now? Looking at the current roster, the Cowboys have some solid pieces up front. Guys like DeMarcus Lawrence bring experience and pass rushing ability. But there are questions about depth and consistency, especially when injuries happen or against top-tier offensive lines. The front office has to figure out if these players can hold up all season, or if they need to add more talent. Here's the thing. Parsons thrives when he's free to roam and make plays. That means the defensive line needs to occupy blockers and create opportunities for him. Without that, he might get doubled or triple-teamed more often, which can limit his impact. So, how much should the Cowboys invest in reinforcing the line? This brings us to potential moves. The Cowboys could look at the draft, free agency, or trades to bring in another disruptive presence. Someone who can collapse the pocket, stop the run, and demand attention. It's a tall order, but necessary if they want to make a deep playoff run. What do you think? Should the Cowboys focus their resources on upgrading the defensive line this offseason? Or are there other areas more urgent? Drop your vote and thoughts in the comments. I want to hear what you think is the priority. Also, quick question. Who do you think would be the perfect fit on the defensive line to complement Parsons? Any names you'd love to see in Dallas? All right, now that we've talked about Micah Parsons' subtle message, let's zoom in on the defensive line itself. This is where the Cowboys front office really has some decisions to make. You see, a strong defensive line can take a lot of pressure off linebackers like Parsons by disrupting plays before they develop. But are the Cowboys really built for that right now? Looking at the current roster, the Cowboys have some solid pieces up front. Guys like DeMarcus. Lawrence bring experience and pass rushing ability. But there are questions about depth and consistency, especially when injuries happen or against top-tier offensive lines. The front office has to figure out if these players can hold up all season or if they need to add more talent. Here's the thing. Parsons thrives when he's free to roam and make plays. That means the defensive line needs to occupy blockers and create opportunities for him. Without that, he might get doubled or triple-teamed more often, which can limit his impact. So, how much should the Cowboys invest in reinforcing the line? This brings us to potential moves. The Cowboys could look at the draft, free agency, or trades to bring in another disruptive presence. Someone who can collapse the pocket, stop the run, and demand attention. It's a tall order, but necessary if they want to make a deep playoff run. What do you think? Should the Cowboys focus their resources on upgrading the defensive line this offseason? Or are there other areas more urgent? Drop your vote and thoughts in the comments. I want to hear what you think is the priority. Also, quick question. Who do you think would be the perfect fit on the defensive line to complement Parsons? Any names you'd love to see in Dallas? Now, let's wrap things up by looking at the secondary and how it all fits together with Parsons and the defensive front. The Cowboys' secondary has been a hot topic for a while. Sometimes solid, sometimes shaky. But in today's NFL, having a reliable secondary is just as important as a strong pass rush. Why? Because quarterbacks will exploit any weakness they find back there. The key to a great defense is balance. If the secondary can cover well and force quarterbacks to hold the ball longer, that gives the pass rush more time to get to the quarterback. It's a chain reaction. So the front office's job is to build a defense that works as a unit. The line, linebackers, and secondary all connected. Right now, the Cowboys have talent at cornerback and safety, but depth and consistency remain concerns. Injuries and inexperience can leave gaps, and that puts more pressure on Parsons and the defensive line. The subtle message from Parsons hints that he's aware of this and wants the team to address it, so he isn't left overburdened. So here's my question to you. How much do you think the Cowboys should prioritize upgrading the secondary compared to the defensive line or linebacker support? Is it more urgent to get new faces in the secondary or focus on the front seven? Drop your vote and your reasoning in the comments. And if you think the Cowboys are on the right path to building a championship defense, let me know that too. Your voice really shapes this discussion. Thanks for sticking with me through this deep dive into the subtle message Micah Parsons sent and what it means for the Cowboys' future. If you haven't yet, please hit like and subscribe so you don't miss future updates. That's it for now. If you want me to cover more Cowboys news or break down other key players, just say the word. Catch you next time.